Kasia Konarzewska. At Mercer, I'm a leader of analytical teams that work on compensation and benefit surveys for Latin America and Middle East and Africa. I also work on implementation of robotic process automation in our Warsaw Operations Center at Mercer. And I'm a fan of Workforce for the Future. So let's start. When I was preparing for the presentation today, I was thinking what kind of message I would like to send to you today. And I was thinking about RPA that I work a lot at. I was thinking about AI, so this is the topic of this conference. But the question is, who is driving all of this? Who is brainstorming ideas? Who is experimenting? Who is inspiring others? It's you. It's you, your people, and it's people who are the heart of your organizations. They are the link between the innovation and the growth in the 21st century. And they are even at the heart of the technology. We have entered the human age. Today I will talk about extended talent ecosystems and building workforce for the future. So moving from internal workforce to extended talent ecosystem. I'm convinced that extended talent ecosystems will help you, your organization succeed, as well as adapt quickly to change. Let's look at the first slide. And I will start with the change of the nature of our work, how it will change. So out of 45% of jobs that are automatable, only actually 10% out of them is threatened to disappear. And this is because the nature of our work will change. How it is going to change? Yesterday we had really great examples at the conference. If you remember Accenture that was telling about introducing a lot of bots, but also reskilling people. We also had in one of the first presentations the example of a book selling company that was not competing so well with Amazon. But what they did, they changed their strategy at first, and they also reskilled all the booksellers to advisors. So this is how the reskilling changed. These are the examples. And this is actually a very good message for us from shared services sector, because the client support has never been important than before. Actually, the automation, AI, is implying added value and enhanced customer experience. So what used to be premium before will be standard. Another example at banks, dedicated client manager. For now, this is something that is quite exclusive, but it will be standard soon. This is one of the opportunities for us, the higher added value customer support. But also, if you go to the transactional part, and it's predicted to be fully done externally. According to Mercer Talent Trends Study 2018, one of the 7 top changes that leaders are going to do very soon is moving all support functions to shared services. How the nature of work will impact the talent ecosystems. Because the relational and expertise skills are becoming more and more critical, this is one of the 4 factors that is supporting the idea of extended talent ecosystems. What are the 3 others of supporting ideas? Of course, it's cost, it's productivity and flexibility. It's also something that we talked about yesterday, the organizational culture that could be a constraint to innovation. it happened to me, probably happened to you, that there was someone new joining your company and asked you why you do what you do the way you do. And your answer was, well, we've been doing this since quite a lot of time in this way, and we did not think to change it. So this is this broader picture that external sources give you, and it will support innovation. Fourth factor is, I called it flexibility. And Agnieszka was talking yesterday about flexibility. So let's go to the subject a little bit deeper. How do you think? It's millennials or baby boomers who want more flexibility? Who votes for millennials? Okay. Baby boomers? Okay, so it was less. So the answer is it's equal. So baby boomers want as much flexibility as millennials. And it's also the same between genders, and it's also indifferent as far as geography is concerned. So we all want flexibility. And according to Mercer Talents and Study 2018, 71% of employees who thrive at their organizations, they say that one of the factors because they thrive is the flexible style of working. However, there is quite a lot to do in this subject, because as you can see, 36% out of requests for flexible working are being turned down. Also, over 40% of us is afraid that this style of working would affect our career in a negative way. And it sits mostly with HR, and also 94% of HR leaders express their concerns about introducing such policies in their companies. And only 30% out of them assess each job if it could be done flexibly. Now I will stop or go back a little bit. What does it mean to work flexibly? It could mean many things. It could mean working from home. It would mean working flexible hours. It could mean working when you decide to do it. It's generally, we call it at Mercer, when, where, and how. This is the employee who decides how to work in a flexible way. So there is quite a lot to do, but this is what we all want. This is not only millennials. So what are the talent pools that we can use to broaden the capabilities of our companies? So first one is internal talent, the traditional one. Partnership. Partnership, this is when two companies work together to broaden their capabilities. One example is ours from Mercer. We have many partners. However, one of them is the online platform edX. And we work together when we help our clients to reskill or upskill. Also, yesterday we heard about outsourcing. That is, it's not only outsourcing, it's also partnership. So we can look at each other, at us as partners for the companies that we work for. Freelance talent is mostly known in IT area. This is where programmers come to your companies and according to the demand, they program, and also it's because of the skills shortage, but there are many examples for freelance. A very interesting one, which is crowdsourced talent. This is also called the wisdom of the crowd. One of the companies that used this methodology, let's say, is eBay, who asked actually their users to decide what kind of what options in their software they would like to use. And this talent pool is connected with the methodology that is called design thinking. And it changes the need finding, so what the customer needs. Before it used to be an expert or a consultant, and it's simply removed, and we simply ask a group of people or users. It's mainly used in the software development. Very interesting one, Co-Opetition. So cooperation and competition. This is where two companies who are traditionally competitors work together, but of course the revenue comes in a different way. And we have also some examples like Apple and Amazon, or Apple and Samsung. But where do we start? How do we work? How do we build workforce for the future? Where do we start? At first, we were talking quite a lot about this yesterday. We need a vision. We need to adapt what's now, and we need to have a clear vision. Leaders, HR leaders, need a clear vision. And only then we can go to the second phase, which is define. In the define phase, we see what we have, our current workforce, and we look, on the other hand, at the vision. And this is where we have our gap, and this is skills gap. Then we decide about the size, so either FTEs, hours, projects, etc. Then still in the define phase, we decide, after all, if we go internal or external. Do we buy or we borrow? And this is where we build our internal, our extended talent ecosystem. In the third phase, which is design, we look for platforms that would help us to manage this new ecosystem. And also, we need new HR strategies. We have our HR strategies regarding internal workforce, but how do we attract freelancers? How do we work as a partner? How do we attract partners? Why should they choose us? And in the fourth phase, we implement the technology, and also we need good governance of the whole transformation. So this was the 4 steps model that we use at Mercer. We work with our clients using this model. And if we go back to the second one, so define phase, and about deciding if we go internal or external, we buy or we borrow. There are a few important questions that we need to ask ourselves. So first one is talent scarcity. So is this specific skill that we are looking for, is there a skill shortage? Probably, if there is skill shortage, it would make sense to hire a freelancer, or maybe not. How important is face-to-face contact? Nowadays, we have applications. We work with many applications and people around the world, so we don't have to travel that much. But sometimes in some projects, face-to-face contact is critical. That's why this is one of the questions that we have to ask ourselves. Location-specific, country-specific, city-specific. Maybe there is a project at the headquarters of any company. Project-based. Is this something that has a clear goal and clear tasks? Or we are just entering in the transformation phase? We need someone who will be creative, who will be working with us. How critical is the job for us? Is this someone who will lead, or this is someone who will be part of the team? And a very sincere question, the last one, how good are we at it now? How good our company is at it now? Do we have experts on board? Do we have enough experts on board? So these are the questions when we decide about going internal or external and building an extended talent ecosystem. What are the perspectives? According to Mercer Talent Trend Study, 2 out of 5 organizations are going to borrow employees in the next 12 months. There are also quite a lot of constraints regarding introducing this new transformation. How do we use those new digital platforms? How do we auction skills, projects? How do we retain the knowledge? Probably retaining the knowledge right now and good documentation is a challenge. I don't know what's your experience. But how do we retain knowledge when, for instance, 20% of our workforce is not working internally with us? How do we make sure that a partner also gives us her knowledge? And the last concern, how do we engage our partners, freelancers? How do we engage people who work as a wisdom of the crowd for us? How do we make sure that they do the best and they share our vision, not only do a project with us? How do we make it? So there are concerns. However, talent ecosystems will enable you and give you access to more skills. It will also help you to have a broader vision as far as innovation is concerned. We talked about this. More broader view is really important and supports innovation. It will also give you and enable you, it will give you a chance to adapt really quickly in the changing world. While, which is very important still, managing the cost effectively. Then what will be your strategy? Are you going to borrow or to buy? Are you going to become a new partner? How are you going to use the fact that customer and hence customer support has never been more important? Thank you. Before we move to Q&A, I would like to just mention that Mercer is conducting a shared services survey on salary increases. It's data for 2018 and 19. My colleague, Olga Obłoza, is here with you to answer your questions if you're interested. And we have also leaflets. The survey is currently open now for more submissions, for submitting the data. So if you have any questions, Olga is available here in the room. Okay, so I'm ready for questions. I'm sorry, I don't see if there are any questions.
Maybe let me start with the first question, Agnieszka. I mentioned that yesterday in my panel discussion when I said, are our regulators, lawmakers agile enough to be ready for what's coming? So how do you see that readiness, agility, when we think about extended workforce?
Yes, thank you very much for the question. And actually, this is, I should have added it to the constraints, right? Especially in Poland, where we do not have so many possibilities. But this is not only Poland. There are many countries who are just rethinking, and it's governments, right? It's not necessarily companies, it's governments who are rethinking also the idea, who are changing the law to adjust to the transformation. However, in Poland, it's still not something that is very enhanced currently. Thank you.
Marek Dziewulski, you mentioned on one of the slides that around 40% of the HR leaders are concerned about flexibility. Could you please elaborate a little bit more why, what's the reasons of their concerns and what would be the next step, right?
Yes, so many HR leaders are very concerned, and it probably comes from us, because at first who needs to change is us, the leaders, HR managers, team leaders who are managing the teams. And obviously, because it's a challenge. So for now, we have an internal workforce. We have people who work from 8 to 4, etc. So how do we enable them to work, for instance, very early in the morning from 5 to 10, and then they stop, they do something, they go and pick up their children, and they then work in the evening. Do they come to the office, or do they stay at home? The technology. Can we work fully at home? We need quite a good technology to do this. So there's still a lot of questions. So how the flexibility should look like? There, as I was saying, there are many options to work flexibly. In Mercer, we have a program that is called All Roles Can Flex. And what we are doing, we are promoting this idea also among our managers, because it's a challenge for us as well. So first step is to know what does it mean, and then how to implement it in our company. And it's proven that it helps the engagement and it helps to thrive. So this is very important. However, I think that we are just at the beginning of the journey. Thank you.
Hi, just a quick question, because there was one on one of the slides, you've talked about co-opetition. It's an interesting one for me, and you said there are some examples, and I think I could reimagine co-opetition in terms of products and how you approach the customers together with some competitors. But do you have any examples specific how we could approach this when it comes to talent sourcing and people sourcing in general? Are there any good examples of it? How do you approach it? Some companies, whatever. Thanks.
Well, probably in HR area, the co-opetition will not be the best source, right? It depends also which talent pool we choose. It depends on the area. In shared services, probably. But in HR, it's rather predicted to work with freelancers or partners rather than competition, because competition will not give you enough added value. It has to give you a lot of added value. So in HR, it's not predicted to be very prevalent to work with competition in HR area.
So I would like to short add bottom to that, because basically when I was looking at this co-opetition, so I think that to some extent ABSL is a very good model of co-opetition. So on a daily basis we compete for the same talent. On the other hand, through different networks and different communities, we also support each other. So one good example comes from Wrocław, where we've got like community of practice for marketing practitioners. So all companies that run their marketing services, yes, they compete for the same talent, but there was a situation in which one of the companies was really ramping up very quickly, and through the network, they were able to be supplied by good talents from other ABSL company that was at the same time scaling down the team. So through communication and through good network, we're able to help each other, even though normally we stay as competitors.
Thank you very much for that comment. Are there any other questions?
Jakub Komorek. Many questions during the presentation. I mean, questions to us that we need to think what we need, goes and so. But if you would like tell us which one is the most important, so what is the starting point on Monday? What I should do, like to start this journey. I mean, too many things maybe on, guidance. What is the most important thing? Going Monday to work, like talking to colleagues, HR, whatever. Thank
you. So I think that I will go back to the model, and on Monday I would sit and think a little bit if we have this future vision, if it's there, if we know where we are going, because only then we can know what's the gap, how we should move on. However, before we have the aligned vision between leaders, HR, managers, and those who lead, we cannot start because we don't know what's the goal. So this would be the first thing. And then it's very important to know what's the gap, because only then we can know, we can plan how fast we need more people. We can plan how many of them do we need. So it is the size. And also the third thing, then choose. Okay, so I go externally or internally? Thank you. Any other question?
Hello, Michał Karnas. Question about partnership talent. Could you elaborate a little bit more what it is and what conditions there have to be in order for this partnership to happen?
I will go back to the example that I gave. So generally, partnership is where two companies work together and they can broaden their capabilities. So when I was giving the example of Mercer working with edX, which is an online platform, so we help companies in this transformation journey. But we didn't have an online platform that helps with training, with reskilling and upskilling of employees. This is why we made a partnership with edX to work together. So we have the methodology, we have consultants, we help the companies in the transformation, and edX is helping us with the reskilling. Okay, thank you very much for the questions. I'm also still available here if you have some other questions regarding workforce for the future. Thank you very much.